Well, hi everyone. Welcome. Let me say hello to Jace and Pauline and Rob and Mel and Allie and Anna. Lovely group out here. I see Joe, uh, Pauline. I'm not sure. Oh, Robin. Hi, Robin. Locke is here. Awesome. So we can get rolling. And I want to welcome Andy. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Hi again, you okay?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Okay, wonderful. Uh, so we thought tonight we would talk about. Unfortunately, I think Andy committed himself to something that maybe he didn't want to. Uh, when we were doing the ginger grow along, he had mentioned, "Well, let's do a brew along," and I thought, I've always wondered what it'd be like to brew ginger beer because I mean it's so good. Uh, so we thought we'd talk about our gardens, what we're doing right now, and then have a little chat about maybe what you need uh, to start thinking about brewing your own ginger beer. But I'm thinking Andy might have a special video on that coming up. I mean, it's not like we're gonna. Oh, there he is. Uh, 1 second. Just a little technical blip there. There we
We're
go.
back.
Yep. Uh, so I'm sure he will more thoroughly go through this, but we don't really need to know how to do that until our ginger is ready to
No,
harvest, right? So we have a minute.
no, yeah,
Uh,
well, I don't know, a whole season of ginger growing, I suppose, haven't
yes. Um, so why don't we kick it off with what everyone is planting right now? So if you guys want to pop in on the chat, we'll talk about that. I have a database on my website uh, I wonder if I could share my screen. Let me see if I can do that. Can I share? Add a source, share screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen for just a minute. And this is the website, and I have this is everything. I need to go back here. But on my website, which is Real Food Comes Dirty, this if you click on what I'm sewing now, this is what you will see. So I got a lot of onions in yesterday. Uh, I found these really hideous looking potatoes at the bottom of my potato basket. And I thought, you know what? I've seen people, and I think it might be Steve at Greenwell, no, at Steve at Digwell Green Fingers, who starts his potatoes in smaller containers and then pots them on and then eventually plants them as a potato. So I'm going to try that. So we just pop those in some smaller containers. Uh, the ranunculus has been started. I'm starting my sweet potato slips. Got a lot of flowers. Many of them are outside in the winter sowing method, doing the winter sowing method. More onions. Got some lettuce that I'm growing for inside, and more flowers, and my ginger. So I'm gonna un.
Is that a sneaky courgette right down the bottom, or is it a cucumber?
That was a cucumber,
Ah,
which
oh,
we
diggy
got,
lums.
and it's very funny because uh, my best friend, no, I'm just kidding. Jesse from Plot 37, started growing cucumbers inside her house. So last year I tried it. It was not good, and at least it was not good for me. I gotta close this one down. I love technology, but sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna look at how I unshare. I think I just do this.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Uh, so she grows them inside. So
Yeah.
we're all hoping to get, cucumbers in the middle of March that we've grown solely inside the house. So when I thought, well, I'm doing that, I need to have some salad greens and maybe, wow, there's a lot of, wow, okay. I need some salad greens and I grew some spring onions.
Yeah.
I thought, then we can have a salad in the middle of winter,
Yeah.
which would be kind of fun. So what are you, I didn't mean that to be so fast and over, it was a lot. Uh, what are you doing, Andy, right now?
Just the pretty, not a great deal to go out undercover. So mostly your staple stuff that you can get out now in your sort of late winter period. So your broad beans. I sell sowed the some onions as well. So they've gone outside now. They've germinated pretty well. We've got temperatures in the UK down to 0, if not a bit lower tonight, with the possibility of some snow. So I think try and get some protection on them in the little mini greenhouse outside, because I fell for that last year, putting them out and then not protecting them, and they all flopped. So
Oh,
yeah, so I want to try and mollycoddle those a little further along. So try and keep those protected if I can.
well, it's still really early in the year.
Oh yeah,
Although, let me see. Oh, have you thought about starting your hot peppers yet, Andy?
yeah. I did some of the chili peppers. I did sow some regular sweet peppers this weekend.
Okay.
But yeah, the chili peppers have been a bit of a 50-50 hit. The slightly lower heat rating ones have all germinated, but the super hot ones have all not shown at all. So,
Now, when you say super hot, what do you mean?
oh, like habanero,
Okay.
um, Buchalokia, a couple of those
Okay.
kind of ones, but
You
not
don't
not.
do like Carolina Reapers
I think it
or
might have been one of those as well, but
okay.
they're not loads, just a couple per cell. So
Right.
I might have had like a couple of plants per super hot variety, but not shown at all. Did all the whole, put them in tea overnight and put
Yeah,
them on
I'm
a
gonna try that
really
this
hot
year.
radiator, try and get them really hot germination, but nothing doing at all. It's probably been over a fortnight now, so I'm thinking that it's either duff seed or it's just not hot enough to be able to, get them to germinate.
Yeah, now I'm gonna try the tea soaking thing this year. I've never done that, but when I heard uh, kind of the reasoning behind it, it made
Yeah,
great sense.
yeah,
So I'm thinking I'm gonna give that a try.
yeah. Don't let
Now-
my unsuccess be a guide, a yardstick as to whether it works or not. I've probably done something else wrong, so definitely worth a go.
Well, and I think they're a little fussy when they're little, aren't they, peppers? I mean, they're so tender too.
Yeah, well, just
Everything.
nothing's come up at all. Not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Might do another sowing just on the off chance. Bit warmer in the house, bit more temperature on the radiator. You never go.
Now I'm
The
oh
other ones just need potting on, so they've come
yeah.
up. So plenty of cayenne, jalapeno, that kind of thing. So to be honest, those are the ones you're probably going to use more than the super hots. But you still want one
Well,
super
that
hot.
was going to be my next question. What do you do with those extremely hot peppers?
Look at them, put off eating them. I don't know.
Okay, because so it's kind of like people who like flowers. They
Yeah,
grow flowers. You grow hot peppers because you just like how they look.
yeah. I've overwintered one uh, habanero, which is in the front living room. So that might, survive the winter and might pull through. So fingers crossed, if I don't get any germination, at least I'll have one pretty hot variety that I can admire.
Well, and a habanero it still has nice flavor.
Yeah,
It's like when you get to those super hots, you can't get past the heat
yeah,
to to see if they have any flavor, right?
yeah. It's just
It's just blazing hot.
pain.
Yeah, pain, exactly. It's just
What
pain.
flavour is pain?
Yeah, I was watching, I don't know if you get that, it's in the UK, Hot Ones, where
Oh
they
yeah, online.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh, and I just laugh when half the group is melting, and the other people are like, "Yeah, this was hot, but no
yeah.
problem." Uh, but yeah, I love it when people kind of melt as they're eating those. It's just funny. And the guy endlessly tries to interview them while their brain is melting. And I just think it's very funny.
Yeah, he's got some really good researchers and put some really difficult questions to people when
No
they're
kidding.
clearly in a vulnerable position. So it's
Yeah,
quite,
he did his homework and he always
yeah,
asks the hot one when they're not doing well.
yeah.
Okay, I just saw from Jace. Let me go back up. This thing was moving quickly.
I've
Jace.
lost the
Oh,
feed, so I'm reliant on your reading of the.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't want to
Uh,
press anything in case I cark it.
Jace over at Leeton, Our Road to Self Sufficiency. Oh, I just closed my chat. I think this is going to be one of those days. He's growing brassicas. Nope, you're up here. Brassicas, peas, ginger, spinach, and broad beans. Now, I have never grown broad beans. Do you grow those, Andy?
Yeah, broad beans there in. I do. I think that was one of the videos pretty soon after Christmas. Did those probably about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So they're in. They've germinated now, so they're up. I only put them in simply because I've not got the ground perfect, as I want it at the allotment. So start them off in pots here, just little mini pots about that size,
Okay.
and get them germinated, and then plant them out as little plants. Hopefully, when it gets a bit better on the weather.
And they're almost like a spring bean, correct?
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the first thing you get after the we call it the hungry gap here. It's really tough to get stuff to overwinter and actually produce stuff to eat in your February, March, kind of period. So sort of April, May, kind of the time when they start, coming online properly. You can obviously overwinter certain varieties. That Aqueductia Claudia is a famous one for trying to overwinter, but depending on how hard your winter is, you can get a bit of a knockback if you get a hard frost. So I tend to wait for spring, well, late winter, and then obviously plant them in spring. So.
Now, I think that's what we call fava beans
Yeah.
over here. What do you do with yours?
I'm not a massive fan of them as they are when they're first shelled. So out of
Right.
the sort of velvety white pod, they're
Yes,
kind of a bit. I think
that
one of
always
my kids
scares me a
calls them.
little bit when I see
Yeah,
an open bean like that.
yeah.
It's
One
like
of
they're
my
laying in a fur coat.
yeah. Well, they look like they should be well insulated, but yeah, one of my kids calls them plasticine beans because they have the outer coating. Yeah, they kind of love it or hate it. But when we went on holiday to Spain once, they tend to shell each individual bean as well. So you go past the sort of outer casing and you get into the sort of the very dark green kernel inside, and that's cooked with I tend to cook it with onion, chorizo or parma ham or something like that, and
Okay,
try and
so they're a bit of a labor intensive.
if you cook them that if you go to that extent, yeah,
Yeah.
but a bit more refined.
Yeah, I've always heard about this double potting, and I just thought, wow, I
Yeah,
don't
a lot
even
of
grow
work.
peas that need to be potted anymore because it's much easier to grow a snow pea or a snap pea.
Yeah, I was thinking that this year. Last year, with the shelling peas didn't do half as good as the Oregon sugar pod,
Right.
and
And
they were
if you let
just so
those
good.
Yeah, and if you let those go a little longer, they actually turn into
Yeah,
legit peas.
yeah. So
So,
I was thinking maybe just do a full row of those or stagger them. Try
yep,
and get a bit of a succession of them over next year, and just be done with the shelling peas, which are nice, but inevitably you don't necessarily get them at that exact sweet spot. Sometimes they're too small. Leave them too
right.
long, they go mealy. But those Oregon sugar pod were brilliant.
Yeah, you can pretty much eat those whenever you
Yeah.
uh, harvest them, which is now I'm hearing here that filled beans are milder than broad beans. Have you ever planted those?
Tried those for green manure one year, but didn't get a great deal of harvest off them. So, not really done them for eating, to be honest. I think is it
Okay.
Steve at Seaside Allotment? He uses them a little bit as a spinach alternative over winter. He nips the
Okay.
he nips the tips out, and I think cooks them a little bit like spinach. I think,
Okay. I
as
don't even
opposed to
know. Yeah, I don't even know if I know what field beans are. Um, huh. Yes, Steve he's changed his name. It used to be the Seaside Allotment. Now I think it's his back garden and seaside allotment,
Yeah,
but he is so meticulous about what he does.
he's on it.
Like, oh man, he's got a machine over there.
Yeah.
Like this one in, this one out, this one in,
Yeah.
and I've already got 10 things ready to go in. Yeah,
So
he's
all the interplanting stuff as well. So
oh, he's like
interesting to see that.
yeah, he's like a genius. Um okay, so everybody's got onion. Do you have onions in? Do you have your onions in?
Yeah, we've got the seeds germinated, like I say, but we've got sets. So again, like pretty much like the broad beans, put them in a
Okay.
holding pattern in cell trays in the little mini greenhouse at home.
Okay.
And they've all, got great roots on them. Quite nice little green shoots starting now. So ready for a bit of a better winter conditions to go away and spring to come a little bit closer, so
Yeah,
we
now
could
when
get
do
those out.
you get your spring?
Our last frost date, I looked at that today, was between Manchester between 10th and 20th of April. So that's our official last frost date.
Okay.
I'm not so hot on the official, calendar date for spring or
Right.
what it is, but I tend to work around that.
Okay. So you're not that far ahead of us. You just have it so much more mild. It's okay. He'll be back. We'll get him back.
Mhm.
Uh
Ooh.
okay, Locke. I think we're talking about Steve here. Um he's too on it, makes it not interesting. I think there's reasons for him being so on it, and I think he had shared that on his channel. I know he's on the spectrum a little bit. So I think that might play into some of his like meticulousness, but I find it fascinating that he can be that on it. Okay, so Mel is saying she's expecting snow tomorrow. Yeah, we're not even close to being out of uh, our snow yet. We don't have any at the moment, but we aren't even close. We'll get snow sometimes even as far as April. So and Joe is only growing Maj too. I think that is a great way to start because there's so much. They're hard to get wrong. Like we were talking about, they're edible almost at every stage, uh, and they're so much less work. Uh, Dusty Flats says they're under a heat bubble. Now, are you in California? Trying to remember that. For some reason, I think you're in California. Uh, so that's, I mean, you guys, your weather is like no other. We were just out there a few months ago, and I mean, it was just beautiful. Middle of October, and it's, you know, short sleeve shirts and shorts. Uh, beautiful, beautiful. So are we okay, Andy?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
It's all right. You know, here's the thing. We're doing this transatlantic
I know.
and it's live. I mean, when you think about that, it's kind of crazy. Oh, you're in Wisconsin. Okay.
Wonder maybe I know. If you're near a big conurbation, you can sometimes get a bit of a microclimate, can't you? Obviously, big cities can
Oh, yeah.
create a bit of a heat patch where you might be protected slightly from the cold.
Yeah, we're very close. We're not close to a great lake, but we're close to a very large lake, and we stay warmer in the winter than people just a few miles away because we have that lake effect that comes in. So yeah, I think microclimates are incredibly accurate. Like even I remember Tony at Tony C. Smith was growing outdoor tomatoes next to a brick wall or a stone wall, and they had plenty of heat because they're by a stone wall, and that kept so much of the heat in that his tomatoes did great. So yeah, microclimates are a thing. Okay, is anybody, maybe you can ask Andy, are you growing extra flowers this year on your allotment?
I was aiming to get a bit more uh, for pollinators, yeah. Um, but a lot of it's timing. Just not really. It seems bizarre not to want to, take that leap. But yeah, it's something I've not really been that experienced in doing before from seed. So I don't know. Just
Yeah,
seems,
and a lot of them take a long time
yeah,
to like that's why I have so many. Well, I'm doing winter sowing, which is a whole different deal, but I'm ready to start some even indoors now because they need that kind of time if you want to see a flower before the end of the season. Uh, you guys are just very busy today. Okay, I'm getting blamed for growing more flowers. Um, all I can say is um, they rarely fail. Now they'll get their own insects and they have pressures just like everything else. But even if it's kind of a bad flower, it's still a flower and
yeah,
it looks pretty. And most of them you can cut and take indoors, or you can just sit and enjoy the beauty of them. So I feel like and they have all these bees that come out of places that you can't, uh, I don't even know how we get so many because we don't have them without all those flowers. So yeah, so do you have any idea what kind you're going to be growing,
I
Andy?
thought we'd just go the least in, care. Hopefully, set it and forget it. We have a designated border at the beginning, at the front of the allotment that you have to use just for flowers or non veg cultivation. And ours
Okay.
had a bit of a neglect over the years, so I think I'll have a bit of a tidy up this year. And even if it won't necessarily be from a seed, we'll certainly be able to get some fairly good deals on some bedding plants or something from the local garden centre that we can get in. So
Right. And if you can't even do that, a nice wildflower mix
yeah,
is, I mean, you just toss those on, give them some water, and they'll kind of take care of themselves. Now, some of those will be perennial and some will be annual. I think that's
yeah.
the beauty of those. Here, I'm just going to turn my light on because my son kind of went away. Is that better? Okay, that's a little bit better. Felt like I was sitting in a very dark room. Uh, yeah, the hairy balls from the other day are getting a lot of traction. They really are beautiful and they do not require much work. So I'm a fan of anything that can accomplish both of those things. Um, okay, so is everybody growing ginger this year or giving it a shot? Let's say oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No sprouts.
I got my first sprout today.
How long have they been in?
Only a couple of weeks.
All right,
I've
so
never gotten one this early.
it's only just this beginning of this week. So
Yeah, normally you don't get a sprout until you're ready to throw them out because you're like, they're as dead as doornails. And then all of a sudden they start sprouting. So I've never gotten one this quickly. So, hello, Jane. Welcome. So, after we grow all our ginger, uh, Andy is going to teach us how to make ginger beer.
yeah, I had a practice today.
Did you?
Yeah,
You want to give us just I'm not asking for a detailed,
yeah,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot here. I'm
yeah.
just
No,
like,
so
maybe
well,
just an overview of what
yeah.
something like that might entail.
Well, there was two ways of doing it. Um, a long time ago, people used to make what was called a ginger beer plant, which was, I think, not that dissimilar to, I think, a sort of, is it kombucha SCOBY? Um,
Okay.
and people would, share and propagate it that way, and you'd make the drink from that method. But I've not really done anything like that before, and it doesn't seem to be kind of the way that most people do it these days. Although that'd be quite interesting, I think, to do as a project.
Right.
People, I think, seem mostly to go sort of the beer brewing route, even though it's not an especially strong alcoholic drink. It only has a nominal amount of alcohol simply to get the carbon dioxide into pressure, to get the fizz.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way that it seems most of the recipes go for producing it. So it's just sugar, ginger root, lemon, zest and juice, and cream of tartar, and it's just put in with sugar to a certain proportion with water, and then it's fermented and then it's bottled.
Okay, so it's pretty much a classic ferment.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like I say,
Okay.
sort of kind of obviously
Okay,
not having
because
to
the
do
other
things
one
like hops.
sounds like making kombucha,
Yeah,
where you have the mother and all of that.
yeah,
Yeah, those kind of scare me. I don't know
yeah,
why. It looks like a really bad jellyfish
yeah. It's
that
not. It
is.
doesn't look like it's something you want to necessarily.
No, it does not. And oh my.
um, so yeah,
Okay.
so I did a bit of a practice over lunchtime, just quick boil of the what was needed and look at the recipe and that and try and work it out. So yeah, it doesn't look too difficult. As a brew along though, I think it would only be something that you'd do probably to get to the stage where you start to ferment it. After that, you kind of want to then sort of just explain how you finish it off, or maybe do a second one in a week or two after the making one, and
Yeah, but I mean that sounds
show how
very,
to bottle it up.
yeah, that sounds very attainable for like everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a great deal of equipment. Maybe a strainer, mixing
Sure.
bowl,
That's
kettle.
awesome.
Not a lot of stuff
And I
needed
think
for it.
and is that because the alcohol content is so low?
Yeah, it's just well, there's not, other than you're not looking to extract the alcohol from barley mash. You're just adding ordinary table sugar, and that's what
Right.
the yeast will then feed off to then create the carbon dioxide and a nominal amount of alcohol.
Okay.
We have a craft producer in the UK called Fentimans, and I think theirs comes in at something like under 0.5%,
Okay.
so that it can be obviously not marketed or taxed as a alcoholic product. I think the limit is 0.5, maybe less. I'm not entirely sure, but must be in that region. And they
Okay.
brew theirs fairly traditionally, so theirs does have a small amount of alcohol in it.
Okay. Because I've seen it both as an alcoholic beverage and as a non. So that was going
Yeah.
to be my next question. I just brew, maybe it's fermented longer.
No, I think it would, if the ones that are for soft drink, so akin to your 2 litre bottle of pop, would be I think just force carbonated, and there's like a syrup mix that's
Okay.
probably then diluted with water and then force carbonated with carbon dioxide to be able to get the fizz as a a kid's soft a
Right.
non-alcoholic soft drink.
Yeah.
But we're doing it well, the way that I would do it would be I'd start it from using that way, yeast eating the sugar to create the carbon dioxide.
Yeah. No, that sounds wonderful. Now, if I were not growing ginger, we could still do that with store
Yep.
purchased ginger.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's what I did today. Just we had some already, and it was only 40 grams to make 4.5 litres, so just over 2 large soda bottles, size.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I love a ginger beer. So awesome.
So
Well,
I was
good.
hoping to do the test run, try and taste it, because the last time I did it was very, very, very early in my home brewing career when I was old,
Yeah.
and it was a little stronger than anticipated, and
Okay.
it probably wasn't brewed with. The biggest tip probably would be to make sure you could get hold of some actual brewer's yeast, which you can get from Amazon or places like that. It's not difficult to get, and you
Okay.
want to definitely try and make it with that rather than skimping and trying to use baker's yeast, because the taste won't be the same.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, if there's
And
one tip,
baker's yeast will taste like a loaf of bread, right?
it's
Or no,
yeah,
it's even
it's
worse.
pretty yeah no, it's
Yeah.
just pretty yeah. It's not. It kind of has things hung over from the fermentation process that you don't really want in a drink, but you don't mind so much in a bread.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, there's
Well,
nothing stopping
so
you.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
just take
say,
a shot. Or,
if you want to stay on top of this, go to Andy's channel at Beans. Wait, give me a minute. I
Bruce.
always get it confused with a different channel. It's a Food Network show. So it's Beans Bread. No, Beans Brew and Bread.
That's it.
Yeah. See, the other one is Beans Brew and Q. So it always
Ah,
gets me confused. Uh, but yeah, go over there and give him a follow so that you can stay. Aside from the fact that he might show you how to make ginger beer, it's a great gardening channel. So go over there and follow him. I will say, please. That sounded like a command. I didn't mean that, but very worth the watch. Okay, so are you starting to prepare beds at all, Andy? Now that
yeah, weekend was that was a fairly uh, intense session. Getting the brassica bed cleared. Uh, we did manage to get some kaleets and some kale over winter, but nothing really much to speak of.
okay,
Managed to find some very, very tiny beetroot, which we're going to put in a pickle jar. So
okay.
managed to salvage those, and now it's pretty clear now. So yeah, should be good for spring.
Now, do you have a cage over your brassicas?
Yeah, like we've got. I wanted to really try and get the brassicas nailed down this year, so we had a big brassica cage with netting. But I found that actually dissuaded slightly from weeding because you had to get under it and take
Sure.
the whole thing off. So I think this year we'll try individual rectangular box shapes, and we'll put them on, and you can take them off, and you can actually weed a bit better without having to, get under and
Right. Right.
like a cargo net challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll try that, and probably cut down on the space because we want to try a few other things this year, and it was just far too big of a space for just brassicas. There's
Yeah.
only so much cabbage you can eat in a year. Let's be honest.
Exactly. And I prefer it fermented anyway. So, and there's only so much kimchi or
Yeah,
sauerkraut you can eat in a year as
yeah,
well. So I agree. But I did decide this year I was just going to not fight the cabbage whites anymore. But now I feel like I'm weakening and going,
yeah.
okay, we just need to come up with a better solution.
There was a few holes in the old netting, so a few cabbage whites got through. We didn't really have much of a whitefly problem. I think you'd have thought if there was any hole, they'd have got through. So maybe
Oh
it just
yeah.
wasn't a bad year. It wasn't maybe just not a bad year for whitefly for us, perhaps. But yeah, it keeps the pigeons off, and it keeps the most of the white cabbage white butterflies off of the caterpillars. So yeah, we
Yeah.
did pretty well.
But those
Um,
those butterflies will find a way into
oh
almost anything. They're at least they're very motivated. Definitely
It's
motivated.
the sight of that one lone butterfly that's just going around inside
Mhm.
the netting.
I saw that
The
with
the most
ours last
disheartening
year,
thing.
and I thought, "Are you kidding me? She just laid 500 eggs in there." And which I have no idea how many eggs but I thought they're all gonna start flying now in
Yeah,
just a minute. So,
yeah.
yeah, is that your biggest pest, or are you a slug guy too?
Um, I don't. Yeah, I think it depends what you plant, really. Uh, Sort of the lettuces, leafy greens. Yeah, they seem to come out, but um, I think I'm quite happy to live with them after the sort of the germination point. So once we'll put the least harmful anti slug measure we can down when we're sowing, and then after that we kind of just keep on top of it as we can.
Okay. So, do you use beer traps or any of those?
No, just like I say, just at the germination point,
Okay,
and
because the
we kind of
lettuce can maybe endure if a slug
yeah,
gets
well,
in it. Yeah.
there's not that there's only so many that can get through, and if they've had a go, then just happy to share a little bit with them.
Well, I totally agree with that. It's horrible when they decimate like a whole
Yeah,
row of something.
yeah. But
Which,
for me, it's like when they've just germinated. That's when and if we put a little bit of protection out for that stage, and they can get big enough to fend off them off later on, then it's not too bad.
okay, so they're a little vulnerable. Um,
At the start, yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's see. Pauline, who I think is in, not even going to guess today, Pauline, because I will get it wrong. I can just tell. You still have whitefly. Now, I would think by now everybody's gotten plenty of, unless you're in California, which I don't think you are. Uh, I would think that frost freeze would take those out. No, maybe not.
I
That
think
doesn't make
even when I think even when the frost gets them, I think they just kind of persist as a like a what's the word like a smut on the on the leaves, and it's difficult to get off, isn't it? So I think they might not be necessarily alive still, but they've done the damage. So
Yeah, well, that one year that my brassicas were so horrible, I thought it was all the white butterfly, and then we moved a few leaves, and this white dust came off them, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, it's whitefly too."
yeah,
So they were just, and the smell, it was horrible. The whole thing was just a bad experience. So I'm going to try very similar to what you're doing with those smaller
yeah,
rectangular things that just pop on
yeah,
the
because you can get just enough netting around them, and they're able to be lifted up. And also, I
right.
think if something fails, I've not got a gap in a massive net. I've just got
Exactly.
one box that I can. Okay, that didn't work.
Right.
Get something
So
else in it, and
let's
yeah,
put something else in.
dead
Yeah.
easy to get the replacement crop in. Whereas the other system, it just seems it's a bit difficult getting in. And like I say, if something gets eaten or fails, you can't really replace very easily. So
Okay. So has anybody started their celeriac yet? I started that yesterday because I really want some nice big heads this year. Um and I want it to be able to go through a little. I think this is one of them that if they get a little frost on them, they're a little bit sweeter. So, let's see here. Oh, we've got some kombucha talk going on. Um, and I agree. Locke said if you're thinking about that, taste it first. I agree. I feel like kombucha is a, what is that called? It's a flavor you got to get used to. I
yeah,
personally love it, but I don't think I did initially.
yeah, I think you want to try something off somebody else or a commercial,
Yes.
and then because you don't want to put that work in and
Oh yeah, and then go, wow,
I
this
know
is not what I
not so
expected.
much.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I've missed so much. Uh, okay, if I've missed a question or a comment, excuse me, that you'd like us to talk about or see, please just type it in again. I'm not trying. They're just the. I've had a hard time keeping up with the comments because there've been a lot, and I don't want to miss what you have today. So, Andy, what is the thing that you're looking most forward to this gardening season?
I think potatoes.
Okay.
I think
You
we always do it, and there's another. I've always tried to find. We're not far from a place called Cheshire here in the UK, and very much like Jersey, the island in the Channel Islands markets
okay.
their new potatoes based on where it's from. You can get Cheshire new potatoes are marketed sort of round here, And based on research, it seems to be a variety called Ulster Scepter, I think.
Okay.
And I tried to find those a few years and really couldn't find it, but managed to bag a bag of the seed this year. So I'm really hoping to try and see what they're like. So quite excited for that. It'll be interesting to see if they match up to the commercial ones from the farms. So might buy a small bag from a farm and taste comparison with the ones on the plot, see what they like. So
Sure. Now, do you grow a lot of potatoes?
we're
Or
doing first, seconds, and salad varieties. We've not had much success with main crop, um, mostly because I put them in too late. You should really put them on a little bit after you've planted the first and second earlies, because
okay,
obviously they have a much longer period to mature and bulk up. And other years have suffered with blight, but I'm hoping this year if I get a proper area set up, get a few main crop in as well, and we'll get a fairly decent harvest. So
okay.
try
So
and get that.
do you put in about like 10 pounds, 20 pounds?
You'll have to forgive my UK kilogram
Oh,
conversion delay.
okay.
What's that?
Go for it. You can just talk kilograms. That's
Be
okay.
about what? It's 2 kg bags. Most what they get sold in. So there's what probably two, four, six, at least 8 to 10 kilograms.
Okay.
So it's probably covers about a third of the plot, more or
Okay.
less.
All
So
right.
it's not. It's quite a bit. And this year I'm going for a few more staple things rather than lots of little things. I maybe put a few interesting things in corners where there's space.
Right. No, I
Because
I yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Like I want to kind of, and yet I have 400 varieties of things that I'm trying to, whittle down to, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, no, and I still think
I moved to do a few more of the sort of salady stuff and tomatoes of the house because the square bed planters that we've got in the little mini greenhouse tend to keep us going
okay.
quite well in salad. And I just find if I do salad at the allotment, it just doesn't get eaten simply because you just get a massive glut of lettuce and we can't get through it. Whereas if it's at
Okay.
the house, we can actually, eat it when it's fresh and enjoy it at its best.
Right, pick it and have it for dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is one of the things I like the most. Um, yeah, so I'm also trying a fingerling potato this year. I've not grown those before. I actually didn't grow potatoes for most of my gardening career. And then I hooked up with a lot of UK gardeners and I was like, well, potatoes is my heritage. Come on, I have to grow
yeah.
some. So now do you grow yours in pots or do you grow them in the ground?
So ours are in ground.
Yeah. I found like
Uh,
the harvest was better
yeah,
in the ground.
if I had more area on the plot that wasn't ground, if that makes sense, because I see a lot more people have dedicated paths and space that's not between raised beds and things like that, whereas I don't have that. So the ground's really all the only place I can really grow in, and if I put a pot on the ground, then I'm kind of wasting the space, sort of thing. So but I can certainly see the advantage to having pots on pathway, and that kind of thing. So
Sure. So you don't have yeah, I don't remember seeing like a raised bed look to yours. It's more
no,
Charles Dowding looking. Like no
yeah, we
wood.
don't. I'd love to be able to put um, wood chip down, but we can't get it now. It's all sold for energy generation, I think, and commercial compost. But
Oh wow. Didn't
unless you've got a very friendly tree surgeon, who's your mate.
There you go and say, "Hey, can you dump off?"
Yeah,
We have a thing here called chip. I think it's called chip or chips. And you can call them and they will dump like a load of wood chips wherever you need them,
yeah,
but you don't know exactly when they're going to get there and you don't know exactly what you're going to get. Like
yeah,
you could get a ton of them or you could get, a small amount. So unless you have a really big piece of property, I think it's a risky, but if you have a
yeah,
nice big property and you have a corner, I'm like, yeah, just have them dump it in.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, last year. Okay, Dusty. Chip drop. Thank you, Dusty. That's I knew it was chip something. Last year, last weekend, May knocked back potatoes. Bad along. Oh, you got a frost.
Yeah.
Yeah, those late frosts are.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about them.
See,
They
I,
come out
I
of
last
nowhere. Yeah,
I put fleece over mine one year, and it was the frost even where it had touched the tops of the potatoes that still froze them. But
yeah,
the plant still, came back. I think the thing is to try and see if you can raise it slightly, even with a little hoop or something, just so there's a bit of air gap between the material and the plant.
yeah. That's a hard point in the year when
Yeah,
you're playing the juggling between possible frost, but you also want to get them out because you want them out before it frosts at the other end.
yeah,
So yeah, there's always a little bit of a dance there.
yeah. Or you want
Uh,
that space for French beans and
exactly. Like
first
you want
earlies
to.
come out. Get
Yep.
get courgettes in. Get some for summer.
You want to keep that stuff going, and a winery lost. Wow, that's pretty serious. A winery lost 90% of their grapes, and they are on a bluff. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah,
Uh, wow, because you would think a winery would know. Okay, we have these issues at this time of the year, but that goes to tell you that you can be caught off guard,
yeah.
and you just have to kind of go with it, don't you? Um,
Prepare as best you can, but there's always going to be something.
yes, it's either a bug, or it's the weather, or it's
Yeah,
the watering, or it's the weeds. Yeah, I think gardeners are very resilient people because they just have to be. You know, you can't just go plant something and go and harvest it 2 months later. The curation of a garden is a
yeah,
lot of you got to really bob and weave and figure out what to do next. Jane is saying that it was a beautiful warm day in the garden today, but weather warnings for tomorrow in the UK.
yeah.
Weather like
Um,
cold and snowy and
yeah, snow.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm going to put a candle under a plant pot in the greenhouse thing.
There you go. We are at 7 degrees Celsius right now,
Mm.
which is definitely a heat wave at the moment. But I think this week we're going back down. We're going back down into the uh, negative Celsius area. So I don't expect to see anything nice, really nice till the end of March.
Yeah,
It's not even safe. Uh, okay, this is like should be on a tea towel.
yeah,
If you pick a fight with Mother Nature, you will lose. Best to
oh,
dance to her tune.
yeah,
Amen. So I got to
yeah,
say, because what is the alternative, right? You just, that's how I feel about those white butterflies.
yeah.
I think I'm hanging up my boxing gloves for those. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. It's 5C here, and the Atlantic Ocean is relocating here tomorrow. So, yeah, I don't even know. So are you expecting some floodwaters or lots of rain? That's a very interesting way to put that. Yeah. Okay. So does anybody have any questions or thoughts that they'd like to ask or make sure we talk about a little bit? Um, okay. I'm really trying to learn Celsius as an alternative to Fahrenheit because I think we're the only country that uses Fahrenheit.
Well,
And
we use it when it's really hot,
oh well, yeah, because
so we can say, "Oh, it's nearly 100 degrees."
right,
Yeah,
yeah. But I am trying to do that, and I should be better at kilograms and all of that because my education was in chemistry, and that's all. You don't talk about ounces,
no,
but
not
I've
in.
never made the mental. There's a mental connection that you have to make.
Yeah,
It's kind of like talking two different languages. Your brain has to embrace that, and mine has not.
anything
Okay.
this year that you're not going to absolutely, but you're not going to bother with that you would normally put in,
Uh,
or you've, like you said, hung up the
I'm not
boxing
gonna
gloves,
grow oak.
given in.
Yeah, I'm not gonna grow okra this year. I'm just not. I find that I really don't like it, and I would grow the plants because I thought they looked kind of architectural, and they were. But boy, that's too much space to give up for something that really isn't even as pretty as a flower,
Yeah.
and I don't appreciate its texture, so that I'm not growing those this year. And I
Mm.
wonder if there's anything else.
For me,
Uh,
I think it's going to be celery or celeriac. Just can't seem to get the sweet spot to get,
oh yeah,
either the celery's too thin, celeriac doesn't bulk up, and they take up quite a bit of space. So I thought, yeah, I normally, because it's one of the things you can sow early. I do normally include it around about this time to start sowing, but
yeah.
yeah, it's been really
Well, I'm
mixed results.
growing leaf celery this year, so it's very very thin, and you
Mm,
really grow it just for the foliage,
right.
which tastes exactly like celery. So I'm because I agree with you. Last year I grew a red celery, and it was like eating bark. I mean,
Yeah.
it was horrible. Beautiful, but wow.
Yeah.
So I'm growing it. I think it's an Austrian leaf celery, and I doubled down on celeriac because we really like celeriac. So I thought,
Yeah.
let's double. And I had a good year last year, so I thought, let's bring on a couple dozen of those, and
Yeah.
they store pretty well. So
If you've got the knack, and obviously you've got success in the past, then
well, that
it's a
was
bit.
the first year I really had success. Otherwise, they'd be like little golf balls,
Yeah.
and I thought, wow, that's a lot of space for golf balls.
Yeah.
But last year I got a nice, almost a softball size. And I
Yeah.
thought, okay, all right, I think maybe we've got this one down.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, and that's true, but I'm growing artichokes again this year just for that reason because they're flowering.
Mm,
Oh my, it's like this big, huge thistle comes out,
yeah.
and it's gorgeous. And I will give that kind of space up for a beautiful flower like that. But I like to buy my artichokes in jars,
The chance.
and it's hearts, and it's
Yeah.
already cleaned.
That
I
saved you
mean,
about 3 hours of prep work right
oh
there,
my
hasn't it?
god, when I was a young bride, I think we had a dinner party and I made artichokes for like the appetizer, and I don't think I've ever made them again because oh my word, that was just a lot of hours of snipping tips of artichokes. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I like to get mine at the grocery store. uh okay. Okay, Leanne also is growing leaf celery, and I find that we don't use that much celery. I don't know, when I get a it's one of those interesting. I mean, when you need it, you need it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't find that I use it that much in my cooking. Um, okay. Well, I think we're getting close to the hour. Uh, let's see. Nope, I think we've I think we're pretty good here. Andy, thank you so much for being here.
No, pleasure
Uh,
as ever. Thank you.
I'm glad that this all worked out lovely, and I hope you enjoy your ginger beer after you're able to. How long do you leave it there for fermenting?
I'm probably going to do mine for about 14 days. A lot
Okay.
of the recipes tend to suggest doing it a lot quicker, but they're putting them in bottles and you're kind of guessing how much they've fermented in a
Yeah.
bottle, by checking the plastic, how firm the plastic is. But I'm going to let mine go nearly all the way and then put them in bottles and then put a bit of sugar in to get the carbonation level up. And much more precise that way.
Okay. Well, I hope that you enjoy those,
Yeah,
or
should be good.
the batch turns out nice. Uh, okay. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Uh, not wasted on me that you guys are live as well as we are. So I thank you that you take time out of your day to do this. And yes, Margaret Alice, I am still growing a tea garden this year. Loved it. Had many wonderful. I'm still drinking chamomile by the gallon at night. So the chamomile's good. I'm doubling down on that this year too. But found many unique. Maybe we need to do a live on tea gardens. That might be very fun. I think that's a great idea. Let's do that. Okay. So thanks again. Same time, same place next week. And I hope you all have a great gardening week. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Thanks.